Someone asked me this question, and so I figured I may as well share the answer with everybody. And so the question is as follows: you have a lot of boys and girls, single boys and girls, they're studying in Israel. The question is, do they celebrate 1 or 2 days for Sukkot? Rosh Hashanah, even in Israel, they do 2 days. So the question is for Sukkot. Do we go by their parents, where they came from? Well, Sukkot, let's talk about Sukkot. The question is, what do these boys and girls do? And so it was just asked to Acham Avadia in the first book of Yahavedat, Siman 26. Bahur Avak she'ala le'eretz Yisrael. You have a single boy who went to Israel. L'ishtalimut l'meshech tegufa misyemet. He's going to study for a certain amount of time. V'datol lahazor el horav hadarim b'chutz la'aretz. And his plan is to come back to his parents' house in Chutz la'aretz, in America. Hayim alav l'nhok shnei yamim tovim shel galiyot. Do they have to hold 2 days of the holiday even in Israel where no one else is doing that? B'tfilah, b'kiddush, u'b'shar aninim, they have to do they have to act like it's a holiday, even though their friends are not. Kidim ben Hus la'aretz, or or should they just hold 1 day because they're in Israel now? In Israel, they only have 1 day Sukkot. And so Hacham Odia, he says over here as follows. Hacham Tzvi writes, those who come from, let's say, America to Israel, even though they plan on returning, the Hacham Sevi holds, when the rabbis made a decree that you have to keep 2 days outside of Israel, even in these days, that does, according to the Hacham Sevi, it doesn't apply if you're visiting Israel. Once you leave America, once you go to Israel, according to the Hacham Sevi, you just keep 1 day. You can even work on that second day, even though really for your family and where you live, it's 2 days. It's Yom Tov. According to the Hacham Sevi in Israel, it's not holiday. Just follow what they say. V'lo gazlu hachamim al ben. Hacham Sevi holds the Gezerah. The Gezerah is nothing. V'lo gazlu hachamim al ben Hus la'aretz. The rabbis never made a decree on visitors from outside. The decree from the rabbis only applies when you're in Hus la'aretz. Once you go to Israel, according to the Hacham Sevi, asur lahim le'osif al Yom Tov echad. You cannot even add another day of Yom Tov. He was an old rabbi. The halakha is not going to follow him, but this is his opinion. Mishum isur bal tosif. That's all you got to say. Huh? As long as you're visiting, that's it. Not aliyah. Yeah, not aliyah like we say these days. According to the Hacham Sevi, Hacham is just quoting him. No, that's not halakha like him. Because when they made the Gezerah, because the Gemara says, well, these days we have a calendar. Nobody goes by the moon anymore. What do you got to keep 2 days of Yom Tov outside of Israel for? Because that's what they always did. So don't touch it. Leave it alone. Okay, so the Hacham Sevi says, fine. But as soon as you're out of Israel, as soon as you're out of America, then get rid of it. You're in Israel. This is his opinion. And so, and therefore, Ulam, however, in the Sefer Geoneh Mizrach Ma'arav, it argues with the Hacham Sevi, and it says, Gam b'nei Chutz la'aretz she'alu le'eretz Yisrael, even if people from America went to Israel, v'datam lahazor toch yud bet chodesh, as long as they plan on coming back here to live within a year, hayavim l'shmo shnei yamim tovim shel galiyot in Israel. So they argue with the Hacham Sevi, and maybe these are Sephardi rabbis. I don't know who the Sefer is, Geoneh Mizrach Ma'arav, but it sure sounds Sephardi to me, the Western and Eastern rabbis. And the Bet Yosef, Maran Shulchan Aruch, the Maran Rabbeinu Yosef Cairo, he writes in his Sefer Akat Rochel like this as well. He testifies the custom always where he was living. All the great Geonim held that if you're going to Israel with the plans of returning back to Chutz La'aretz, you must hold the second day of Yom Tov even in Israel. There's a Maran Shulchan Aruch arguing with the Hacham Sevi, and the halakha follows like him, like Maran Shulchan Aruch. You have to make believe it's a regular holiday, just like where you come from, as long as you plan on going back. Not only that, says, I see tons of minyanim in Israel filled with people from outside of Israel celebrating second day Yom Tov. Everyone else is going to work, and these guys are saying Hallel, and nobody tells them to stop because they plan on going back. That's it. They have to follow the place of where they come from. This is the halakha l'matzeh. Now, I'll skip to the second part. Ulam, says the Chacham Ovadia, כל זה באדם נשוי שעלה לארץ ישראל לביקור. This is only talking about a married person who already planted roots outside of Israel. You planted roots outside of Israel, then you're going there, you're just a visitor. Because we know you're going back because you have a family over here. What about a single boy or a single girl? Same thing. A single person. Sha'adain in alav ol mishpaha. He doesn't have family ties besides for his family, but like not his own nuclear family. He's not married. He doesn't have a family here in Huslaris. Katab Maran Garon Moshe Galanti. Moshe Galanti writes, "Shekebel min avotav geonei Yerushalayim." He accepted from the rabbis of Yerushalayim. She'eno oseh ela yom tov ehad bilbad. Rabbi Galanti holds that a single boy would only celebrate one day Yom Tov in Israel. Ben la'akir, ben la'akil, ben la'ahmid. Whether for good or for bad, he can drive. He doesn't say Hallel. He has to act like a person from Israel. That's what Rabbi Galanti holds. If you're studying in Israel and you're not married, you're an Israeli. Finished. Rabbi Galanti says this is the custom, as you can see. Tam, what is the reason? Says Rabbi Galanti. Mishum she'efshad. Maybe you'll find a nice girl when you're studying in Israel, or the girl will find a nice boy. You'll marry her. And before you know it, you'll be an Israeli. Right? Everybody always follows the girl, yeah? And so you don't know for sure that you're going back home. And this is the opinion of Rabbi Galanti, also the psak of Rabbi Shlomo Al-Ghazi, Rabbi Shmuel Gamizian, Rabbi Abraham Amigo, all agree that a single boy becomes an Israeli when he's studying in Israel. Then he adds in the Sefer Halachot Ketanot, Shegam Hagaon HaMusmach Rabbi Eliezer ben Arha, who lived at the time of Maran, he agrees. The great rabbis of France told the boys, if you go study in Israel, you're an Israeli. I don't care if you say you're coming back. Only keep one day. You might find a woman and marry there, and who knows? You don't think you're an Israeli. Maybe you really are an Israeli. However, in the Sefer Ginat Beradim, he writes in the name of the rabbis of Yerushalayim of his generation, Shepasak lehefach, they hold the opposite. She'en hevdel bazeh ben na'al lezaken ben ravak lenasui. This Sefer Ginat Beradim says it doesn't matter whether you're married or whether you're single. You have to keep the days like you're coming from. Arguing on this Sefer and going back to the opinion that if you're single, you become an Israeli is the great Maran Hida. The Hida writes in the Sefer Hayim Sha'al, and he writes, Sherabanim elu, mehilat kevod toratam, with respect and forgiveness, because he's about to bash them. Lo yadu kus devre emet. They don't know the truth, these rabbis who say that even a single person has to keep 2 days. Shemanhag Rabbaneh v'Gaoneh Eretz Israel, the great Geonim and the rabbis from Israel, Dor v'Hachamav Mishanim Kodmoniot, from all the early ages, always said leorot, to teach the halakha ma'aseh. Shekol bahur ravak ha'oleh le'Eretz Israel oseh yom tov echad bilbad. The Hida goes back and he defends the first opinion that if you're single and you're in Israel, you only do 1 day. Ben la'akil, ben la'ahmir. And Hosif Maran Hida, the Hida adds, he knows for sure. Shegam Hagon Rabbi Avraham Yitzhaki, who was the Av Bet Din in Hebron, he wrote the Sefer Zera Avraham. This is what he told everybody who asked him. If you're single and you're in Israel, guess what? Congratulations, you're an Israeli. All the rabbis of Israel agreed. Since the whole addition of the second day in Huslas is only because we used to not be sure if it was a holiday. These days we have a calendar. There's no mistakes. We know what day is Yom Tov. The rabbi said, just don't change what we used to do. So now, if you have any reason at all to break this Yom Tov Sheni custom, like people who go visit to study in Israel, and you might say, hey, maybe they'll find a girl, maybe they'll build a house there. So they become Israeli. בספר מזבח אדמה, And also agreeing is the Rishon Tzion Yisa Beracha in the Sefer She'ala Ish. Says the Chacham Ovadia, the final halakha. Mikom Akom, however, Bahur Ravak, a single boy, She'ala le'eretz Yisrael, that went to Israel to learn Torah or whatever, Aminat she'achzdor dechutz la'aretz etzer harav, and he plans on going back home to his parents. Ve'omeh befirush, and he says explicitly, she'afilu im yimatzeh shiduch hagun b'mo hanmatan, even if he finds the best Israeli girl in the world, b'shum ofan lo ya'azov et horav sheb'chutz la'aretz. I don't care. I'm telling you, I'm going back home to America, no matter what. And you can tell he's 100% serious. There's nothing to keep him in Israel. Then he has to keep 2 days because he's telling you that he's an American. You're punished. However, says Chacham Ovadia, ulam l'stam bahur ravak, for a regular boy who doesn't say such a statement, she'ala le'eretz Yisrael, alf pi she'hora b'chutz la'aretz, even though his family is back here in America, v'dato l'chazor lehem, and he plans on going back. Yesh le'orot lo l'halacha l'ma'aseh, teach him la'asot yom tov echad b'lebad kishe'ah toshevei Eretz Yisrael. You have to teach him to be like an Israeli, unless he specifies nothing is getting me to stay in Israel. I'm going back. Chacham Yitzhak Yosef, the former chief rabbi, the son of Chacham Ovadia, he adds one thing here. He says, Mikom Akom, nachon lehodio, it's proper to inform the boy or the girl, shegam imhu somech b'derech kalal adat horav, even though he relies on his parents for support. Im tizdamin lo bat zug mat'ima im muharumatan, if you find an amazing girl, and you can live here in Israel. I feel like you should know. His Chacham Yitzhak says, teach the boy, even if your parents tell you, I don't let you marry the Israeli girl. You don't have to listen to them. The halakha is, you don't have to listen to your parents if they say don't marry a good girl. You have to marry the good girl. It's your mitzvah, not theirs. So you have to teach it to the boy and tell the boys, I know you may have been programmed by your parents to say, no matter what, I'm coming back to Israel. Just letting you know, you don't have to listen to them. It's your decision to stay in Israel. Shurat hadinem. Am I saying that right? If he agrees and says, okay, fine, I might consider it. Then he should only do one. So kind of lead him into it, says the Chacham Yitzhak, into becoming an Israeli citizen. But if he answers you, thank you for telling me this halakha, that I don't have to listen to my parents. I don't care. I'm not going against my parents' will. I'm coming back home to America. Whatever my parents tell me to do, I'm going to do it. Thank you for informing me that I don't have to listen to them, but I'm going to listen to them anyway. Fine, then let him keep 2 days. So the halakha l'maaseh is, you tell a boy, what is your plans? I want to go back to America. Okay. Do you know that you're allowed to stay here even if your parents say no? Yes, I'm aware. What do you still want to do? I want to go back home. Okay, so you keep 2 days because you're an American citizen. But if the boy's like, well, I'm not sure, I might stay here, then you keep 1 day. That's halakha l'maaseh. Baruch Yaminyan, I think so. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen ve'Amen. Rabbi Hanana ben Akashya Omer, Asa Akash Baruch Hu Zechot Et Yisrael, Licha Chidba Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shneimad. Adonai Hafiz L'Maaseh.